I first learned about living waters from a guy that I served on a Presbyterian committee with, Steve Young, who happens to be the administrator of Living Waters. And Steve and I served together, and he introduced the program to me and came down to our congregation in Fayetteville to do Vacation Bible School, adult Vacation Bible School class, and informed us about that. And our mission committee became very interested in being involved in that. And then later in the year, brought Steve back to Fayetteville to do a Rotary program. And the Rotary Club was also very interested in that. And so our Rotary Club and the congregation at First Presbyterian decided to partner together to do a Living Waters for the World project. So we got a combination of Rotarians and First Presbyterians, Joseph Hamilton, Jennifer Taylor, and myself to go to Clean Water U, which is the educational part of Living Waters for the World. And Joseph and Jennifer and I took the classes and came back, not really sure where we were going to go, but we determined that Guatemala was a good place to go because there was a network of systems already in place and people looking for places to put the systems in. And Katie Bedunna, who is the coordinator for Living Waters for the World in Guatemala, was the person that we first contacted, and she had been to a conference, I believe in Dallas, where she met Carlos Estrada, who is the treasurer here at Iglesia Presbyteriana El Dios Vivos here in Guastatoya, the Presbyterian church here. And we contacted Carlos by email through translators because Carlos speaks very little English and we speak very little Espanol. So we've been using translators to contact Carlos, and he invited us to come down last October. We came down and actually visited about 6 or 7 different sites, and the church here looked like the best site to begin as the hub for a first system that we hoped would be able to allow us to reach out and put systems in other places and bring other congregations and perhaps other Rotary clubs into the program to provide the systems for them.
Living Waters for the World has meant a lot to me. When we were in Mississippi, we learned how to teach children and adults how to teach other children and adults to go on and teach how to clean water, wash hands, and use the clean water that we're doing here.
Living Waters for the World is a project that is quite different to any of the mission projects that I've been involved with before, in that it is a project which helps you to partner with someone in another part of the world in solving either a problem that they have in their particular community or in their life, or a problem that is a world problem like the one that Living Waters for the World is tackling.
Well, the first time that I heard about Living Water was actually last year when I was working for church, trying to translate some stuff like documents and papers to Brother Carlos Estrada.
This is Carlos Estrada. He is an elder from his church and the national treasurer of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church in Guatemala. We have noticed that a lot of children were dying because of disease from infections on their stomachs. So we think that it will be good for them to find a way to purify the water, since even the city water is being treated, but it's not the best way to do it. So we think that we were in need of new purified water for our children. Since the health of a lot of people is in danger, we decided to do a request to the main church to start this project in this community. As a national treasurer, I traveled to United States. In one of those meetings, I met Katie Bedunna. She works for Living Waters, and between her small Spanish and my small English, we tried to communicate, and we got an agreement with her, trying that she will visit us and test our water to see if we will be a good project for them to help us. So I was thinking on the needs of the members of my church and the need of my community. Then we could have a meeting with Mrs. Katie Beduna, and she came down here to do the testing with the group from Tennessee.
This is a little town in Guastatoya. It's a hot place, kind of dry weather, and the people usually buy and sell stuff. It's more commercial than other activities.
I am a member of the Fayetteville Rotary Club and also a member of First Presbyterian Church, and obviously heard about Living Waters for the World through both the church and through the Rotary affiliation. And when the project was announced that they were looking for volunteers to spend some time in the mission field assisting with the installation of this system, I could think of no better way than to serve both organizations than to be a part of this team and come to Guatemala and assist with the installation.
The training has been excellent. I have had Jennifer Taylor as my mentor, that I've helped her be able to train the people here to find out about using pure water versus community water, when to use community water versus to use pure water. And all the people have been extremely receptive to our questions and answers and different things about the community as to where they get their water from and how often they should be using it.
I got involved in the Living Waters program as a member of the First Presbyterian Church in Fayetteville, and I have a system similar to this at home. It's not identical to this, but we use the filtration system. I use an ultraviolet sterilizer in my home. This is an ozonator here, and what happens is you introduce the ozone into the system here, and it's churned in here, and the contact with the ozone is going to kill most of your microbes that are living in the water that can cause health problems.
You can see in the background the cisterns that we have situated. One of them is the tank holding the impure water. The one that is higher is the water that is pure, that has been purified. When we got here, we found another source of water which helped us greatly in adapting the system to what we wanted it. We have successfully hooked up the tanks, and we have now run 2 batches of water and have bottled 1 of them. We'll step inside and see what is going on inside. We have now moved inside the old pastor's house here that has been converted to the facility for the water board, which you can see here in the background. The filling station turned out to be one of our biggest challenges. We weren't sure how we would adapt the filling stations and the washing stations with what we found here, but we were able to go to a hardware store and buy a Hila, which is actually a washing facility where they wash their clothes here, but we've adapted it to our rinse station and filling station. We have 2 hydrants here where we can fill 2 bottles at one time. The water is now circling from our second batch, and we're about 3/4 full here. This apparatus right here is the key to this system. It's called a Venturi, which is used to draw ozone from the ozonator, which is a machine that is used in the United States commonly in swimming pools and around the world to purify the water in swimming pools. The ozonator is 4 tubes that excite the oxygen and create ozone, and the Venturi allows it to be pulled into the water. There's a piece of clear plastic that's left in the system so that you can observe if bubbles are being formed. If there are bubbles in this clear plastic, it indicates that the venturi is doing its job. You still have to take the tube off from the ozonator in order to know for sure that you're producing ozone. Ozone has a distinct smell. You can take the tube off and hold it under your nose and tell whether it is making ozone or not. These two filters here are called Big Blues. The first one is a 5-micron filter, and this one is 5/10. By forcing the water through these two filters, the majority of the bacteria and microbes are removed. Those that are not removed through these two filters are removed and killed as it is churned, and ozone is added in at least 30 feet of pipe in order to make the water churn enough to mix it sufficiently with the ozone to kill the rest of the bacteria. The water will not be completely pure after this process because you can only use some sanitizer to completely purify it or to boil it. But this will be sufficiently sanitized or purified so that it is safe to drink. The first filter that we come to is called a sediment filter, and it removes any large debris and particles from the water as it is pulled in from the holding tank. This filter can be washed monthly and chlorinated so that it can be reused. If it's handled properly, it could conceivably last for a couple of years, maybe even 3 years if it's handled properly. The Big Blue filters will last for about 100,000 gallons of water, which in a normal operation is somewhere between 1 and 2 years. But normally we would replace those after about a year of use.
So, ready.
Okay?
And
El agua va encendiendo todo.
last time I saw it, that time I was era agua de esta. Look here, look here, look here. Dale la vuelta, le voy dando vuelta, con los dedos nada más hacia atrás.
Okay, I think that you don't have enough.
Push can be good.
This is one of our first bottles that we produced. As you can see, it has the labels on there for Living Waters for the World, but if you don't speak Spanish, you may not be able to read it. Although everybody here using the water will be able to read it. One of the major problems that we have in completing projects like this is the language barrier, and it's very important to have someone who can help you bridge that barrier. An interpreter, while you are in country, is extremely important, as well as someone who can help you communicate through email with translations in between trips and in the pre-planning stages for the trips. Miriam has been our translator. She is a native of Guatemala. She lives in Sheila, and she has met us at the airport, was waiting for us when we got off the plane, came through the airport, and has been with us every step of the way, helping us through not only the interpretation of the language back and forth, but also with making decisions. And she also knows the system very well and is able to help in the education classes as well as in the training of the operators.
I would like to introduce Juan Antonio y Brian Gonzalez. They are the operators of the system. They have been in the training and during all the process of the installation. They will be helping to distribute the water, to wash all the bottles, and of course delivering the waters to the people and to all the community.
I want to say thank you for the people who are involved in this program, especially Living Water program, Rotary Club, and the First Presbyterian Church from Fayetteville, Tennessee. Thank you again.
Yo en lo personal y toda mi iglesia le agradece a Dios.
I want to thank personally and on behalf of my church to Living Waters, because through them we met the Rotary Club and the First Presbyterian Church of Fayetteville, Tennessee. The good partnership and the great relationship that we have been doing with the members of the team that we have met as brothers and sisters. We really enjoy all this visit and all the job that we have been doing together. We thank God and we thank you in the name of Jesus. Bless you.
Mucho en el nombre de Jesús y esperamos que Dios les bendiga por siempre según su promesa.
I would really like to express my gratitude to the Fayetteville Rotary Club, to the First Presbyterian Church of Fayetteville, to Todd Jenkins and Joseph Hamilton and the team for such a wonderful experience. It was a great time, absolutely a life-changing experience, and I would highly recommend to anyone who has a chance to go serve other people in this capacity to do so if you ever have the opportunity.
I want to thank Rotary and the First Presbyterian Church for the opportunity to be here and help other people. It's been a great experience for me. I've gotten closer to people that I would never have normally gotten close to, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity.
I'd very much like to thank the First Presbyterian Church in Fayetteville and the Fayetteville Rotary Club for giving us all this opportunity to come to Guatemala and help install this system and also enrich our lives.
I want to thank the Rotary Club and First Presbyterian Church for asking me to be able to go on this trip and to be able to have this fabulous experience.
This was a trip of a lifetime. Going to Guastatoya in Guatemala was like stepping back in time 50 or 60 years. Going to the outdoor market for groceries, living off the land, somewhat primitive compared to how we live in the U.S. The people are poor, mainly living in small tin shacks on the sides of hills. The people of Guastatoya are very friendly. Most seem happy, a relaxed atmosphere and not so time dependent, not even when you're on the chaotic streets of a friendly car horn or two. People are laid back and don't tend to lose their cool. The mountains and hills are beautiful. Cows, horses, and goats just run loose. The food was different, but we were always full. The installation ended with a celebration when we share the water we have created with the clean water system and give thanks to God, asking God to continue to let clean water flow. The team's most incredible, rewarding experience is when we watch the people of Guastatoya drink that cup of water that came out of the system that we helped be a part of. The Fayetteville Rotary Club and the First Presbyterian Church of Fayetteville made a difference in these people's lives. This was a life-changing experience for the team, helping brothers and sisters in need. These people are just like us in totally different circumstances. We learned from each other what really matters in life. Life is all about relationships, and that's what this trip was all about. Every child should have the opportunity to lead a full and healthy life with the life-giving water that God intended. The Fayetteville Rotary Club and the First Presbyterian Church came together, partnering across barriers of nationality, culture, and language, making a difference, true service above self. We can now imagine a world with clean water for all of God's children.